my fellow Americans. This is former President Barack Hussein Obama, and you're listening to the Mad Titan Podcast. Please be sure to support this young brother from Chicago, Jay Washington, because he's a funny bastard. God bless you, and God bless the United States of America.
I ignored my destiny once. I cannot do that again. Even for you. I'm the only one who knows that. At least I'm the only one with the will to act on it.
The Mad Titan Podcast with your host, Jay Washington.
What's happening, everybody? I'm back. It is episode 48 of the Mad Titan Podcast with me, resident supervillain, Mr. Jay Washington. What's going on, everybody? I apologize for the delay. I wanted to get this out a little bit earlier, but I knew with the final episodes of Crisis coming up, I had to wait until all of that played out for me to come back to y'all, so I'm here. Thank you, everybody who's been reaching out, showing a lot of love. I haven't been back since the whole situation where Collider released let go of a lot of us, basically. Laid us all, fired us. If you hadn't heard, Collider had shut down a lot of its famous shows: Movie Talk, Jedi Council, Collider Live, Collider Heroes, 3 of which I was on regularly, regular part of that. So myself and a lot of other people lost jobs, including some people in the technical department, and it was very sad. And hopefully, people will be able to bounce back and move forward. And the support and the love that everybody has given has been a very big and instrumental thing in helping in that moving forward and progressing forward. Thank you to everybody who now knows about the Mad Titan Podcast. Due to that, I'm mad that you didn't know before, but you are here now, and that's what matters. For those who are new to the podcast, what I do is I get you caught up on everything that's happening in the Marvel and DC live action and cinematic universes. This is barbershop talk for nerds, so I keep this shit A100. It's like you're talking to one of your homies, your friends, you nerding out, but it's real shit. It's not your typical, well, oh my god, in this episode, you can't believe this happened, and what this exactly means is this. I don't do that. Keep it real. Now, normally I have a guest with me, but everybody's been busy, so I'm going to do it by myself, and guess what? I don't mind. I'm learning now that I shouldn't mind having to come and talk to my peoples, my listeners, the people who rock with your boy, by myself. I don't always need to have someone with me, and I'm going to start embracing that more and more. I said it before, but I'm like, 2020 is hindsight, better vision, everything. So if I got to be here rocking with y'all, because there's a bunch of stuff I want to give y'all, I'm going to rock with y'all. I got a bunch of things to be able to give away pretty soon, too, and I want you all to get that. But we'll talk about all of that. There's so much I want to talk about. Now, if you're new to the show, I break it down in 2 sections. I do Marvel, DC, then I do things from the hotline and the podcast. I mean, the hotline and the email on questions, all that shit. But let's get into the Marvel news. Now, there's news I haven't gotten to since I've been gone, so I'm getting to it. And some things you might have heard, some things you might not have, so bear with me. All right, bear with your boy. I got a lot of shit to talk about. Now, I don't know if you heard, but Marvel is set to introduce the first transgender superhero into the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It is rumored that this hero may appear in the Eternals film. Now, here's the issue I bring with that. It's the people who are making a big issue about it. I feel like there's no reason to make an issue about it. If it happens, it happens. I need people to stop making such a big deal about it. If there is a transgender hero, so what? If there's another member of the LGBT community hero, so what? If there is a female lead, so what? If there is a person who is black or person of color or minority lead, so what? People have to stop tripping. And when I say people, I know 9 times out of 10 it's not my listeners, because y'all know better. You know that if you on the dumb shit, don't rock with me, because I don't rock with you. But there are people on the internet, and I know the internet sometimes is a silent majority, but it gets very loud. Stop doing that. Transgender people have been throughout history. People have, as we done said, cross-dressed and everything. Look at the founding fucking fathers of the country. But I need people to stop being like, oh, they're trying to push an agenda. What's an agenda? That people exist? That there are not just, look, I grew up in a very Baptist Christian household, and I grew up where it was believed that being gay was wrong. That's how I grew up in the church like that, because it was strict things. It was man and woman. God made Adam and Eve, not Adam and Steve. But I grew up with a friend who was, we were all the same age, and he was gay from the day we knew him. We were all 14 years. We knew he was gay, and he could have any chick he wants. And the only thing that me and the guys were like, yo, this nigga's gay. He got the finest of females at him. But we knew gay people existed. They live. They deserve the right to live. They are humans. It's never been a thing. Transgender people have always been around. It's just now they're more in the forefront and the limelight, like, because they deserve the spotlight like everybody else. So, yo, stop tripping on all this crazy dumb shit. If it happens, it happens. And again, don't act like they're sitting there, oh, they're forcing to shoehorn it in. It's not. It's not. Yo, people there've been more than just the general, what we know as men and women around forever. So y'all gotta chill. You really gotta chill. Stop that shit. Now, I know it's a little bit late, but Josh Boone, the director of The New Mutants, said that it was going to be released this year in its original version. Now, this was before the trailer came out. When I heard that, I was like, yo, they're taking a risk, I'm assuming, because if you didn't hear before when I talked about it on here, they did test screenings of The New Mutants. And when they did test screenings of it, supposedly it didn't come back well received as they thought it would be. So they were doing the reshoots to re-up the horror element in the movie and shit. But the reshoots took time and they were delayed because of Maisie Williams' schedule with Game of Thrones. So I'm assuming now Fox is like, Disney is like, look, let's just put it out. And also, there was a thing that said The New Mutants was in the MCU. It is not. Whoever was doing the PR just spoke too quickly. It is not. This is the final Fox X-Men film, especially if this film is in its original version. There is nothing connecting it to the Marvel Cinematic Universe. It is connected to the Fox X-Men. So if you go into this movie mad because you didn't see some reference eventually to an Avengers or a Fantastic Four or Spider-Man or something of the sorts, you're going to be setting yourself up for failure. You will probably hear references to what happens in the Fox X-Men films. And that's between the entire lineage from X-Men, X2, X3 The Last Stand, First Class, Days of Future Past, Apocalypse and Dark Phoenix, all of those. So that is what this movie is. Now, when we got the trailer showed a lot of horror. The trailer showed a hell of a lot of horror, and I was so happy for it. I'm even more excited to see this movie now than I was before. But we still have to wait until April of this year to see what happens. Hopefully, I will be there in the building seeing it. I would like to go to premiere. So Fox, Disney, if you are listening, Jay Washington would like to go to the premiere of The New Mutants. Please, let's make this happen, all right? This was some news that dropped, and I didn't get a chance to talk about it here. I was waiting to do the podcast, but there was so much stuff building up and so much stuff I had to do. I had to wait to get this to y'all. Christian Bale is in talks to join Thor: Love and Thunder. I need to make sure I say this again so y'all understand the words that your boy is speaking. Christian Bale is in talks. He is not officially a part of the movie yet. Talks means there are negotiations going, seeing if this would be a perfect fit, if the money works, all these different things, scheduling and what have you. Christian Bale, the former Dark Knight, the man who said after he played Batman, he would no longer go back into superhero franchises, but he did mention a while back that he said if he was to ever did it again, he would do Batman with Christopher Nolan, and we know that's not happening, so therefore he dropped that idea out the window. But people are now speculating if he is going to be in this, who will he be? Like, everybody's jumping out the gate saying Beta Ray Bill, and I'm hoping that's the case. But I think that's something we always do. We're trying to figure out who's going to play these mainstay characters we want to see. But forget, there are a bunch of other characters that can be developed and built up. I don't think anybody ever expected at first for Jeff Goldblum to play the Grandmaster. I knew it was announced that he would be in it. Then it was later announced he'd be the Grandmaster. So it's all these different things that people want and we hope to be. But we just got to wait to see how it all plays out. Again, I would love to see this. ABC, the network itself, wants Kevin Feige, the creative genius, the mastermind of the Marvel Cinematic Universe, to develop a TV show to fill the void that Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. will be leaving off television, okay? Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. has 2 final seasons coming up, 2. And after that, that's it. There's no more Marvel television as we know it, meaning Cloak and Dagger's been canceled, Runaways is done, Ghost Rider is not happening. Hellstrom, I believe, is still supposed to happen. They're moving forward on it. We don't know what route they're going to take with it. But the Netflix universe, all that's done. Now everything falls under the Marvel Studios umbrella. So now they want Kevin Feige to find a show, to take a character and build a show to fill that void. But the question becomes, what character can you use to fill that void, to make a show that will fit the ABC realm of things, that will have I don't even want to say Agents of S.H.I.E.L.D. feel, but it feels it in that way, if that makes sense. I'm hoping that helps out a little bit, but I guess, I guess. But it's interesting to see what they're going to do. Now, granted, there's a lot of options out there, a lot of different stories. Some people brought up the what if, but that's already a Disney Plus thing is going to happen. So it's going to be interesting to see how that one plays out. This is another thing that I heard last week that I'm glad I get a chance to talk about in fully now. Scott Derrickson, the original director of Doctor Strange, is now out as the Doctor Strange 2 director, Doctor Strange Into the Multiverse of Madness. And the reason being they're saying is creative differences. Now, that is always an issue. Of course, we're talking about Marvel Studios, any type of entity that has a big network. And when I mean network, I'm talking about this universe of films where there is an underlying theme and these movies have to connect in some way, shape, form, or fashion. I'm wondering, is it because of what is expected to happen in WandaVision leading directly into this? Again, I've said this on this podcast. I've said it on other shows I've been on. I am about 95% sure that WandaVision leads into Doctor Strange Into the Multiverse of Madness, where the Scarlet Witch is the villain. Because I think she finally becomes Scarlet Witch in WandaVision and in turns becomes the villain. And somehow Mordo is brought back and things like that. So it's a possibility. Again, I'm about 90% sure you can quote me on it if you want, but also I'm not a guaranteed sure, but I think the way they're building this up, it's setting up the two. So when they said the two were connected, shall I say, back at Comic-Con, that I believe, Scarlet Witch, not Wanda Maximoff, Scarlet Witch will be your villain for Doctor Strange 2. But have Derrickson out is kind of interesting because it's like you got a certain vision out of a director with Doctor Strange 1. And no matter how many people may felt a certain way, after a while, Doctor Strange began to grow on people. It was an origin story. It had to be told. You had to know who he was. You had to understand about the mystic arts because you had to learn about this new part of the universe with Marvel that we're being introduced to cinematically. Everybody doesn't understand the mystical arts. We got the galactic and cosmic part now. We have the microverse, but it's different things that micro and the quantumverse, excuse me. But it's different elements, and so people have to be introduced to them because everybody isn't a comic book fan. Everybody ain't a sweaty. You know what I'm saying? Shouts out to the homie, God rest his soul, John Snap. Everybody ain't a sweaty, so everybody don't understand. So when you go to Doctor Strange 2, if people are going to Doctor Strange now, you're going to want that director who brings that vision over again because now they follow suit. Now, understandable when you get a new director, you want that new eye, that new vision, but it sometimes can hinder it. Now, Thor is an exception. Thor is an exception because Thor 1 was Kenneth Branagh, Thor 2, I can't remember who directed it, but then we got Thor Ragnarok with Taika Waititi, and now we see no one else holding this position. It's the same when it comes to Guardians of the Galaxy. 1 and 2 are James Gunn, and when 3 happened and Gunn was originally fired, everybody was like, no, who do you have replace it? And then everyone said, well, since he did Thor Ragnarok justice, give it to Taika. And then Taika Waititi was like, I don't want it. So then everybody was like, well, who does it? And now you have Gunn back. So I don't know. I'm hoping this is just a quick little spat, and hopefully they work things out, and then Derrickson is brought back. Because they are saying they're currently looking for a new director, so it'll be interesting to see what happens. I am very hopeful and nervous at the same time about that. Moon Knight is set to begin filming this August. We still don't know who's going to play Mark Spector. Now, there is rumors. People think it's going to be Keanu Reeves because of him having the discussions with Kevin Feige. A lot of people say Keanu might end up being Reed Richards. I still believe that John Krasinski and Emily Blunt are your Reed Richards and Sue Storm. I still believe that in my heart of hearts. But then some people have been saying Shia LaBeouf is Mark Spector. And with the comeback he's had from Peanut Butter Falcon and Honey Boy, I don't see a problem with it anymore. I don't. The way Peanut Butter Falcon and Honey Boy have been so well received, I don't think that'd be an issue at all. I don't think that should be. So it will be very, very nice to see what happens with that. It'll be very nice. Again, August. The way the months of the years be flowing by now, we'll be knowing anyway, but we'll officially find out come San Diego Comic-Con in July. So we'll have all of that. I hope to be directly in Hall H to give you guys a full update of everything that is going on with that. I want to be able to give you guys every single thing about that. Silver and Black. Now, if you remember, this was set to be another Sony movie in the Sony Spider-Man verse. They were going to do Silver Sable and Black Cat as a movie, but now it is rumored that it is going to be a Sony Marvel television show. They're going to develop it as a TV show. I'm here for it if you're going to develop it as a TV show. But one of the biggest things I want to make sure if they do that is that Gina Blythewood is still a part of it. Because she was supposed to be the EP on it. And I need her to still be a part of this. To hear Gina Blythe was a part of it, that's what got me interested in it. Like, at first I was like, I'm not caring too much about a Silver Sable in a Black Cat movie. But like I said, you say Gina Blythe would, I'm like, yo, let's go. I'm here for it. There's certain things you can do that get my attention and pique my interest instantly. And that was one of the things. And again, as a TV show, you don't have to rush this. You can flush it out. And it being a Marvel television show with now Sony and Marvel still having their working partnership, having the tutelage of an Amy Pascal and a Kevin Feige together to lay this out, because again, it'll connect to Spider-Man's universe and somehow reference the Marvel Cinematic Universe, which will go into another element that does that. This can be great. Again, time will tell if it fully happens, but for it to be back on the table in this form is a great thing to hear. And speaking of the Spider-Man world, Spider-Man himself is said to be making a cameo in Morbius. If you saw the trailer that dropped, which by the way, I did, and I'm fucking sold. I was one of those people, when they first announced there was a Morbius movie, I was like, Michael Morbius is getting a film? Morbius the Living Vampire? Like, why is Morbius getting a solo film? Then they said Jared Leto is in it. And I was like, Jared Leto is Michael Morbius? Why are they making a solo film? Then I heard Tyrese was in it. And I was like, Tyrese is... kind of get where I'm going. But I heard Jared Harris was in it. I was like, yo, Jared Harris is a dope dude. I've been a fan of his work for a while. And I got a chance to meet him in person a couple times at the comedy show. I made him laugh. Your boy was good. But I saw the trailer, seriously. And I was very impressed with the trailer. You did see the Spider-Man cameo in it, where on the wall there's a picture of Spider-Man, which looks like it may be the PS4 Spider-Man, but nonetheless it says murderer. And if it's following the events of Spider-Man Far From Home, it's where Spider-Man is accused of murdering Quentin Beck, aka Mysterio, which we know is actually still alive. So that's a good thing. Also, the cameo at the end, and I think everybody lost their fucking mind seeing Michael Keaton, aka Adrian Toomes, also known as the Vulture, which means Sony is going full steam towards the Sinister Six movie without telling us directly. And I love it. I love how originally, when we had the original Sam Raimi trilogy, we knew, they're going to do Sinister Six one way or another. And then you got the Amazing Spider-Man movies and was like, we finna shoehorn it in. This one, they've built it up from Spider-Man Homecoming with giving you the Shocker, the Vulture, and the Scorpion, because Matt Gargan is a Scorpion. And then you turn around in Spider-Man Far From Home and give you Mysterio. And now you have Morbius is the sixth person Venom, because Venom is in this world as well. And remember, I've been quoted as telling people Peter Parker was in Venom, the original Venom, and Marvel Studios pulled the scene out. So yes, Tom Holland filmed the scene for Venom, Marvel Studios pulled it. But does Venom become the sixth of the Sinister Six they're going to do? Do you get a special iteration? Because I know everybody wants a Doc Ock eventually, or a Kingpin, or things like that. I want to see a Hobgoblin. I don't want a Green Goblin. I know we get a Green Goblin so many times. I'm fine with a Hobgoblin, quite honestly. But I'll be interested to see what happens with that. Movie drops this year. Morbius drops this year. And again, I'll be going to see it. I go see all these movies whether I'm excited for them or not. But I want to see him because now the trailers have piqued my interest. Again, we got another Black Widow trailer, which I forgot to mention. I've been sold on the movie since the first trailer. So, like, you don't have to sell me personally. I mean, yes, again, I know, and some people who listen to this, like, Jay, you were one of these people who kept saying this. Yes, I still believe we didn't need a Black Widow's origin story. It is 10 years too late. You could have did this shit after Iron Man 2. But unless this plays a major part in the story of moving Florence Pugh's character forward or something going forward, I want to see the movie. I'm excited to see the movie, but the storyline element and where it fits and everything, that's the part that gets me with this movie being a Phase 4 film. Phase 4, and Black Widow was introduced to Phase 1. So, it is what it is. But that is all the Marvel news I have for you guys at the time of the recording. Let's go down to DC news. All right, I know what you want to talk about. We're going to talk about it in a minute. Let's go first to the CW, giving early renewals to all of its Arrowverse shows at the TCAs during their winter tour. So with the exception of Arrow, which leaves after this season. Batwoman goes to season 2. I told you all, no matter how bad this show is, that I believe it is, and a lot of other people do, and some people think it's great, no matter what, the season was not going to be gone after, the show was not going to be gone after one season, and of course it's not. Supergirl goes to season 6, Legends season 6, Flash season 7, Black Lightning season 4. I am happy for all of that. Superman and Lois has been giving a full 13 episode order, so you will be getting that. You will be back to 6 shows in the Arrowverse no matter what. So we'll talk about that going forward when I get to the crossover. Some set photos from the Batman have been coming out, and it seems to reveal, thanks to director Matt Reeves, that Colin Farrell is the Penguin, and we all say that because of a goddamn umbrella. I know, it's weird. Now, we said that Colin Farrell is the Penguin, but it was just a picture with him with an umbrella. That was it. Like, it can't be rainy outside, and my man just can't have an umbrella. He gotta be Oswald Cobblepot because of the umbrella. I was like, okay, that's what we doing, and that's how we doing it. I guess. I can't be super mad about it, but it is what it is. It is what it is. Nonetheless, I am excited to see what happens. It's a noir detective film. They say it's going to have Joker-esque type vibes. Now, that's not saying that it's going to be derivative of Taxi Driver or King of Comedy, adapted for that for Oscar nominations, which I'm about to get into. But the noir feel, the dark feel, the not so much action-y superhero type movie, I'm assuming. He's already Batman, but he's more of a detective in this movie. So, speaking of Joker, the Academy Award nominations came out, and Joker has received 11 Oscar nominations, including Best Actor, Joaquin Phoenix, Best Picture, Best Director, Todd Phillips, Best Cinematography, Adapted Screenplay, Score, and so much others. Okay, let's just be honest. Let's talk for a second before we go any further. A lot of people are going to talk and say, oh, this can finally break the stigma from comic book movies and win Best Picture. Okay, because Black Panther was nominated, didn't win, and this is when it can win. Here's my problem with this statement. It is not a comic book movie. I don't care what you may say. This is not a comic book movie because it is just the Joker in the name that you only hear once, and it's Gotham City and Thomas Wayne, and that is all. That is it. You can put in any other things, and it's another movie. If it's not called Joker, it's not given the accolades and the praise and paid attention to as it is. But because it is why everybody went to see it. I have still stood by that. We did not need a Joker origin movie. I did like the film. I don't want anyone to say that I didn't like it. I did like the film. But I do not believe that we need that. I don't. But again, to use it as the comic book trope to say it will now change Hollywood's biases towards comic book movies, that is a lie. Because this movie is just Martin Scorsese's King of Comedy and Taxi Driver melded into one with 3 little sprinkled elements of Thomas Wayne, Gotham City, and the use of the name Joker finally towards the fucking end that you call it a comic book movie. And I think it's unfair to other comic book films. Yes, Suicide Squad is an Academy Award winner. Okay? Yes, it is. God, I hate to have to say that. Other films have been nominated in the technical departments for Oscars. And now Black Panther was one of the first ones to be taken serious. And I know some people are going to say, well, what about The Dark Knight, Jay? Again, had Heath Ledger not died, he may have gotten the nomination, I agree. But I do not believe he would have won. I still stand by that. He would not have won had he not passed. That was a posthumous award given to say, hey, we respect you, rest in peace. I do not believe he would have won that year had he not passed away. The nomination, yes. But again, to go and say that Joker is this movie that's going to break the stigma from comic book movies is absolutely untrue, and to comic book fans everywhere unfair, because it's not. Because the next batch of movies will never be treated like that. Will never be looked at in the same eyes in the lights of the Academy. So let's stop doing that shit. That shit is not right. And as somebody who is in the industry, who speaks on this, who works, who acts, who goes in front of these directors and producers and stuff like that, who make these decisions when it comes to nominations, I feel this is a bunch of bullshit. To say that it is going to break the comic book stigma mold, because it's not. Comic book movies will not be taken serious no matter how much money they generate at the box office, no matter how much they are critically acclaimed, critically reviewed, rave received, all of that. Because one movie took 2 classic films and just sprinkled some shit on it. Now you're going to say it's the best comic book movie? Fuck out of here. Sorry. Had to go on a rant. I feel like this is the only place I can go on a rant like that. It's the only place. Because no one else will allow it, because they won't say it, because they're scared of burning bridges, and I'm not scared of. I don't say I want to burn bridges. I just always want to be honest and frank and straight up. And to everyone who I know that's in the industry, everyone who is a writer, who is an actor, who is a producer, who are directors, who are cast members and crew on different things, you respect. Those who know me, personally, know you respect me because I'm honest and I'm not trying to dog anything. But I just feel the way the Oscars are as a whole when it comes to film stuff. I love talking film. I like talking movies and TV, and I definitely love talking comic book movies. And to say that this movie is now going to be the movie that breaks it is not, because it's not. That movie stopped, because when we come back next year for the Oscars, you're going to have this whole thing of like, well, no other comic book movies were acknowledged. Look, Logan got closer than anything else should have got. Logan got close to anything else. And then it got dismissed. People thought Deadpool would be in the running. So all of a sudden now, because Logan got adapted screenplay, but we thought Logan would get a Best Picture nomination, and it could have. It should have. But now, because of what Joker is, because all of the hype, and the not good hype sometimes, Joker's going to happen, there's going to be a lot of shootouts, and a lot of incels are going to shoot up theaters, and motherfuckers wouldn't have been happy, especially in the media, wouldn't have been happy unless something happened. They wouldn't have been happy until then. And so since the first weekend nothing happened, they didn't know what else to say. I'm sorry, y'all. I'm sorry. I just had to get that off my heart. It was on my heart. I had to just... It's just frustrating. It's extremely frustrating. Because I watch these movies, and yeah, there's a level of hype and action junkie and like a big kid syndrome you get, but people get that with other films too. And we don't look at any other genre and try to say, will this be the movie that breaks this stigma? And it's not a movie that actually is that movie. If you get what I'm saying. Joker is not a comic book movie in the actual sense. Joker is a regular movie that just happened to use the name, that licensed the name, licensed Gotham City for this. That's it. Let me go to something that's on a positive note. The Crisis on Infinite Earths crossover completed itself last night at the time of this recording, episodes 4 and 5. You can check out my YouTube channel, youtube.com/JAYWashington80 for my after show I did talking about it all. Thank you to everybody who's been checking that out, who's been going back and watching it, people who've been commenting their thoughts on it. Some people liked the crossover, some people didn't, and guess what? Everyone is entitled to that. I myself personally, overall, I thought it was a good thing because I remembered what it is. I remember, yes, it's a crossover. It's not one gigantic show. It's 5 shows brought together, and each episode of that show will keep each episode's individual theme. I will constantly bring that up. The Supergirl episode that kicked it off was a Supergirl written episode by the Supergirl writing team, and it was done with the elements of Supergirl. Then you got Batwoman's, which is arguably the worst episode because it's the Batwoman team. The Flash was arguably the best one. The Flash is arguably the best show running. When it's team, Black Lightning's was not done. Black Lightning was added into the crossover. So his episode wasn't a direct crossover. Arrow switched up a bit because then you had to use Oliver now being the Spectre, spoiler alert, and everything, and then him going to the different things. And then the final episode is the Legends of Tomorrow episode, which Legends is its own thing. Legends has no canon. It has no rules. It can be as wacky and as crazy and as weird as it wants to be. And so that's why I dug it. I knew what it was. But we got to talk about it. The best thing that happened was in episode 4. Barry is in the Speed Force after the multiverse is gone and all the Paragons are in the vanishing point, and Oliver returns as the Spectre, taps Barry on the forehead, unlocks his potential. Barry runs into the Speed Force and at one point runs into Star Labs and the Cortex, and who does he see? But Barry Allen, the Flash, played by Ezra Miller. Let me get into it, boys and girls, ladies and gentlemen. Every single thing I told you guys about this crisis that would happen, happened. Any spoilers that I had, I told you, I peppered them in throughout numerous episodes. It happened. Any cameos, any surprises that would happen, happened. This was the one thing that I kept telling you all, there was one thing I cannot tell you. This was it. I was one of 25 to 30 people who were privy to go to Mark Guggenheim's house to watch episode 3. And when we watched episode 3, Mark Guggenheim was so, like I said, gracious, welcoming us in his home. Thank you for having me there. He had a food truck. Everybody go out and get some food. I get some chicken shawarma, you know what I'm saying, because I fucks with the chicken shawarma. I come back in with my plate, and I'm watching everybody look at the TV, and I look at the TV, and I see Ezra Miller talking to Grant Gustin, and my mouth drops. My face hits the floor and I almost dropped my plate. I had to turn around and look at everybody that was there with us and like, yo, are y'all seeing what I'm seeing? Like, am I going crazy? Am I being drugged? Is this real? Because none of us could believe what we were seeing. And when it was done, everybody was told, look, you can't tell anybody about this. There's no tweeting about this, no mentioning it, no nothing. And it was only like 25 to 30 of us who knew this was a thing besides the people who filmed it. And I am honored to be a part of that 25 to 30. So when I kept telling people, there's something coming, that was this. And then I go back to what I tweeted earlier today. If you follow my Twitter, at Mr. J Washington, which you should. Last month, I was on Collider Movie Talk, and I was there with Haley Fouch and Perry Nemiroff, and we talked about The Flash having a release date now, along with having its director, and, you know, words Andy Muschietti, who is directing, said about it, and Christina Hobson being writer. And, you know, people are like, oh, well, it's been changing writers and changing directors consistently, and, like, you never know, it may not happen, and Ezra still might not be The Flash. At the time, all I could say was, this is going to happen for sure. Please believe me. I can't tell you why I know, but this is going to happen. And of course, in the comments and YouTube, everybody, oh, this ain't going to happen and blah, 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 blah. I'm like, this is going to happen. You guys have to understand this is actually going to happen. This movie is going to move forward. And I couldn't tell you all that I knew that there was going to be a meetup with Ezra Miller and Grant Gustin, both in their Flash suits. To be a part of that history, first of all, to watch history happen before the world got to see it. And me and my boy, we text each other and it was like nobody had a single clue. It was amazing. And I'm grateful that I was a part of that, in a sense, being that select few, you know, to be in the midst of some of the cast of the shows. My homeboy David Ramsey, LaMonica Garrett, meeting Rick Gonzalez, meeting Ezra Chow, meeting a lot of the writers, the showrunners from the different shows, and again, hanging with Mark Guggenheim and all that, and being a part of that elite select group that we got to watch that, and just and be in that moment was so surreal, and I'm grateful. And so when I tell everybody what I do here, I do it because I love it. You know what I'm saying? I don't do it just to try to be a journalist getting scoops. I'm not a journalist by any stretch of the imagination. I'm an above average black dude that does dope shit, that loves what he talks about and loves his fans, and, you know, loves that his fans like to rock with him. And so when I get to be a part of that in a community such as the CW Arrowverse that has embraced me as family, to say, hey, we for sure got to get you on one of these shows. You know, to say, hey, which one do you want to do? To say, hey, you want to go here? Do you want to do that? Well, what's the deal? What we got to do to get this happening? To do all that for me is a blessing, and I'm grateful. And to tell y'all what I told y'all and be able to give y'all what I was able to give y'all throughout this, I'm hoping you appreciate it as it all played out. All right? That's what I want to say. But to see that cameo was great, and I love the fact that I started watching people's videos on YouTube, which, here's the problem with it. People showing their reaction videos to it, I don't think anybody was, I don't know if there were many people that were recording this, you know, recording them watching the crossover live knowing something was going to happen. So it's like a delayed reaction, if that makes sense. I don't think people were sitting there going, yo, something's going to happen, something's going to happen. And I don't think nobody did that. I appreciate it. Some of the reactions seemed genuine. I guess some people heard and then they may have heard about it, heard like, yo, you got to watch what happens. Record your reaction when it happens. That may be the case. And if that's the case, I guess I'm cool with it, whatever. But I was happy to see it. I was happy to be a part of it. Let me say this. That is the end of crossovers for a while when it comes to the Arrowverse. That is the end of crossovers. So what that means is you will get these small ones. You will get these small ones, you know, like you'll get a World's Finest. You'll get a Batwoman and Supergirl together. You'll get a Black Lightning and a Flash potentially. You'll get these small mix-ups. You might get John Jones go to the Legends. All these different things, but you won't get a gigantic Justice League team up again for a while because why? Everything has built up to Crisis on Infinite Earths. And so now you have to build up all the way again. So again, sort of like the MCU. Everything built up to Avengers Infinity War and Avengers Endgame. And now we start over from scratch. We lay the groundwork. Everything's anew. And we start over. So don't expect next year for them to be like, oh, well, what's the crossover there? There's nothing. There's nothing. You're going to get small little, like I said, mix-ups and team-ups. And now that everybody's on the same Earth, spoiler alert, so that's what's going to happen. So don't think it's anything major. One of the things I did want to talk about, like I talked about in the after show, was at the end they showed like the different Earths and whatnot, and a lot of people were like, well, does this mean the Earth, the multiverse still exists? And he was saying in the beginning there were these multiverses in the beginning, So these different Earths were in the beginning. Now everything is collective. So all these heroes now, I'm assuming, again, I don't think the multiverse as far as the Arrowverse exists. I think the multiverse as far as at large exists. And I know that sounds confusing. I'm still trying to, figure everything out and talk to some people. But they did say that Swamp Thing was there. You got to see Swamp Thing. You saw the Doom Patrol. You saw the Titans. You saw the JSA with Stargirl, which again, we're getting her series coming up. So all these things are playing themselves out. I'm just looking forward to it. I am super excited. Now, that is all the news I have from everything this week. Thank you for everybody who's been rocking with me. But again, I'm going to go over to the Mad Titan Podcast emails because I don't have any hotline questions, but you can call me on the hotline. That is 818-276-6947, 818-276-6947. You can call me, leave your questions, comments, whatever the case may be, and I will get back to you. Or you can email me, madtitanpodcast@gmail.com, madtitanpodcast@gmail.com. Email me, and I will read your emails if they are, worthwhile on the show. And I'm about to go to a couple of them I got right now. This one's from D. Ashley 2003. He says, do you think Christian Bale will play Gore the God Butcher? I know some folks think he could be Beta Ray Bill, which is possible, but to see Christian Bale go dark and in Thor movies with Gore the Butcher would be a great story with a great ending with sacrifice, time travel, and love. What do you think? I don't think they'll go that way, because I don't think we want to take Thor now what it is and go dark. Had this been along the same lines of when we had Thor the Dark World and Thor 1? Probably. But now that we've gotten more lighthearted and fun, and this one is about Asgard's king needs a queen, I don't think you're going to have a god killer in Thor, and especially with the Asgardians of the Galaxy drop, with Thor being around the Guardians of the Galaxy in part 3, however that's going to work. I don't think you're going to do a killer. I think if it is Beta Ray Bill, yes. If it's not, it's somebody else, but I don't think it's going to be that dark. So thank you for your email regarding that one. And I got another email. I think this is the same person, Joseph Ashley, says, Mad Titan be new Collider? ? With Collider failing, do you think it would be a good move to seize the opportunity and expand besides doing just Marvel and DC news? Love the content and know you do regular movie reviews on your channel. Just wondering if you do all sci-fi shows and movies with Marvel and DC news going so slow lately. Thank you for that. First and foremost, allow me to say, Collider didn't fail. It isn't. I don't want to say it failed. I don't want to be that person. It decided to go in a new business venture, business decision. I don't want to say it failed. I want to say it went in a new direction, new business decision, and companies do it all the time. So that's that, to express that. Would I love to do more than just Marvel and DC news? Absolutely. I would love to. Can I? Absolutely not. I can't. Here's why. I do not have the time, nor the resources. I am just one person. Now, I know there are a lot of channels that do every single movie review, every single trailer reaction, every single thing, and that is all they do 24/7, and that is the main source of their income. If I was making main income off that, yes, I'd be doing the same thing. But I'm also an actor. I am a working actor. Commercials, television, film. I do a lot of that. I am a stand-up comedian. I perform a lot. I am also a professional wrestler. I am in the ring a lot again. I'm a father, first and foremost. I have to dedicate time to them. I'm writing scripts for myself. I'm writing pilots, and I'm trying to get picked up and sold. I have a lot of things to do, and the stuff that I do on my channel that I give out to the people for the content, I love doing it for y'all. I love doing trailer reactions. I love reviewing some movies that I want to go see. Like, I don't like going to see just movies just to see them. I love seeing movies that I want to go see, and I want to talk about them, and then I just record a video and talk about them on my channel. I don't ever want people to think that I don't want to do all. I'm just one person. If I was getting paid for this, like a regular full-time job, handsomely, and they were saying, hey, Jay, you need to dedicate your time to doing it, I absolutely would. I would talk all these different TV shows, especially sci-fi shows. I would get more into them. I would do it. But it doesn't pay like that. I'm be honest, it doesn't. The love of it is one thing. The time and the financial expense behind it is another. So, unfortunately, I cannot. And I know me saying can't and cannot is an oxymoron or being hypocritical, because I tell my kids, my 16-year-old son and my 6-year-old daughter, to take those words out their vocabulary. Can't is not something you can do, not something that exists. You can do it if you try, make forth the effort. But I know there's no way I can make forth that effort to do all of that, to watch all of those shows, to all of those movies, to add all that extra content. I'm the only person watching them, then having to record them, then having to edit everything and upload it. I couldn't. I wanted to watch every single episode of every single Arrowverse show and review them all. I couldn't. My schedule wouldn't allow me. I'm day in, day out, yes, trying to bust my ass to prove just in this space alone, in this internet review nerd, black nerd world, that I'm a dude to go to. I'm a dude you need to know. Some of you all know me, trust me, and believe in me, and I'm grateful to God for you. But I feel more people need to know who I am. And so I bust my ass every day doing this. Every day. And so as much as I would love to do it, I don't ever want to be the new Collider. I want to take what Jay Washington is doing, what the Mad Titan podcast is doing, what Blurs in the Hood is doing, myself and Winston A. Marshall, and expand that first and foremost. But again, just like Winston's working, I'm working, and we're both just trying to make something happen. And for me, myself, I'm constantly going. I would have done this yesterday. I had a last minute voiceover audition on top of having to be in the gym to work out for myself, and not only to be on camera, but to be in the ring and stuff like that. And then I still got to work my bouncer gig and the working nights. So it's a lot. And I never want to neglect my fans. I never want you all to think that. The people who know that I'm supposed to be putting more stuff on the Patreon. I'm trying to find my videos from San Diego Comic-Con that I did with the cast of Pennyworth. Because I would love for you all to hear the interview with Paloma Faith. It's so amazing. But it's just so difficult at times. It's difficult. And I don't want you all to think anything else. I don't want you all to believe or feel that I want to neglect and I don't want to do it. And I don't want you to think that I don't want to seize this opportunity. But also with seizing this opportunity, Joseph, is it worth it? Is it worth it? Like I said, it has to be financially worth it. Me burning myself out, I'm already burnt out. Me burning myself out even more. Me burning out the ash that I am to give more and do more, it has to give me something back in return. It has to. And as of now, it's not. Will it happen in the future? I don't know. I'm hopeful for it. But time will only tell and we can see. But thank you so much for your email, and thank you everybody for rocking with me and listening. That's all I got for this episode of the Mad Titan podcast. Thank you to everybody who's been listening. Please, if you have not done so, rate and review this. If you are on Apple Podcasts, go down, it's been a while since you gave a review, do that, give a rating. If you're on Spotify, review it, rate it. Google Podcasts, review, rate it. Player FM, Stitcher, everywhere you're hearing this, rate and review. This is how you get more people to get up in this. And if you want to actually support, there are two ways you can support me. Number one, grab yourself a Mad Titan Podcast t-shirt. Okay? Shouts out to everybody who's been grabbing t-shirts. Mad Titan Podcast t-shirts. You can get them at teepublic.com/user/Mr. J Washington. Grab t-shirts, man. Grab your Mad Titan Podcast t-shirts. You show me some love that way. Or if you don't want to buy a shirt, join the Supervillain Squad on Patreon. Patreon.com/Mr. J Washington. Thank you to all of my members of my squad. To my newest members, Saphir Tesfaye, Fanboy Cantina, and to my existing members, Adelia Chamberlain, Akeem J. Brown, AZ Badfish, Brandon Buckingham, California Joe, Kasi Nuchalobe, David Adams, DJ Snacks, Greg Morrissey, Hank Staley, James Smart, Jeffrey Chadorn, Jim Mason, John Mariano, LK, Marcus Kennedy, Marcus Burton, Mikey Lito, Paisley Darts, Randy Constance, Rudy Rueda, Steve Tozen, and the Prince That Wasn't Promised. Thank you all for being a part of that. If you want to join the squad, it is $1 or $5. That is your choice. If you go higher, trust me, here's the thing. I said this on my after show, any podcast I do. You go higher than $5. If you do $20, $50, that's what you want to pledge to me a month to show your support. I'm going to give my love back and make you a part of this weekly. I'll make you a part of this. So basically, I'll do an episode and you'll be here with me as we're recording. Or I'll do a stream where a review and you'll be in on the stream with me. We'll do those things. So that's how much I want to show my thanks and gratitude if you support me in that level, okay? Follow me on Twitter and Instagram at Mr. J Washington. It's MRJAY. You should know how to spell Washington. And make sure you are joining and subscribing to my YouTube channel, youtube.com/JAY Washington 80, youtube.com/JAY Washington 80. Check out the reviews for the Harley Quinn series with myself and Winston A. Marshall, as well as the after shows. All of the after shows for Crisis on Infinite Earths are up there on my channel as well. There's a full playlist for Crisis on Infinite Earths from the preview to the after shows. Go ahead and check those out. I will holler at you guys next week. Till then, take care. I am out of here. Thank you for everything. Peace.